Well, Todd, I was thinking of maybe trying to do the work on that. I'm afraid of bonding that we found. So the situation is, I'm in a conversation with a friend, and he is telling about his latest relationship that ended, and he found out that it was about fear of bonding that went into fear of abandoning abundance. No, how you say that in English?
Being abandoned. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I mean. And and all of a sudden I felt like I've been on my own for 12 years, feeling totally happy with that, and I didn't want to have any partner. And all of a sudden, I thought, would it be the other way around with me, that I went from fear of being abandoned, that I know very well from when I was younger, that I went to fear of bonding. So, and I would like to try to figure that out.
Okay. So the stressful thought is you're afraid of bonding.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm just wondering. I'm wondering. I'm wondering. Am I afraid of bonding?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah. And then the stress starts, right? Then the fear
yeah,
starts.
it's like, should I uh, investigate that, or
Yeah.
can I just leave it at that and just go on living like I did? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm
And the
I, I'm getting curious actually.
right, right. And the key was you felt a stress when the thought came up, right? That you said, oh, I
Yeah, it was a slight thing of, am I missing something here?
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was something like that. Am I missing something in my life?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if it, it were thoughts like, maybe if that's true, that I'm afraid of bonding, um, maybe I'm missing something there. Maybe if I would not have that fear of bonding, my life could even be more happy than it is now.
Mm.
All that kind of things. Like,
Okay. Okay. So um okay,
maybe
so
the thing is more, am I missing something because of that? That's more, that I
that
think
seems
that's
like where the
most of
stress
it.
is really coming
Yeah,
from. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's question that. So you're missing something in your life. Is it true?
No.
So how do you react when you hear this friend talking about fear of being abandoned and then kind of turning it around and saying, maybe I'm afraid of bonding? And then you look at your life being alone, being single for 12 years, and you have the thought you're missing something. How do you react?
I become a bit worried. Um, I I feel like, not really, not really dangerous, but something in that direction. Like, could it be dangerous to not investigate that, or um, it was. I actually felt like, wow, that could be really true. I'm not sure. I don't. I want to 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 get more clarity about that.
So, how do you treat yourself when you think you're missing something by being single?
Mm, I don't know. Missing something.
How do you treat your life? How do you judge yourself?
until then, until right before that moment, it looked all just fine and really my thing. and and when that thought came, all of a sudden it started to, maybe it's not as complete as I thought. It's like, yeah, maybe I'm too superficial in these things. Like maybe I should go deeper and find out whether there is a fear going on.
Right.
You never know. Especially since it struck me. So if there would be nothing, then I wouldn't have thought anything or felt anything, I think. So,
So you said it was stressful. I'm hearing like a little bit of a mix of part of you is curious, but part of you is something is a little bit stressful. There was some reaction also that happened. Is that right?
yeah, I think so. Um, it felt as if this conversation in that moment um, touched something that I didn't want to see, or so,
Mm-hmm.
like, because otherwise I wouldn't react that way, I think. So it was too obvious. It was subtle and obvious at the same time.
Okay. So, any images from the past or future when you think you're missing something?
Mm. The main pictures I got in that moment was actually about my um, my relationship with the father of my children. Um, because at that time, I really had that fear of being abandoned. And he was very loyal and very, uh, um, how you say that, steadfasty or
Steadfast? Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. And and so that fear got totally in the background because it wasn't needed. And then when we divorced as friends, uh, very soon I got into a different relationship that was totally the other way, totally the opposite. So that was a man who had problems with bonding. So my fear of being abandoned got fueled, and so all these images of that came back during that conversation. So it almost felt like, whoa, all of a sudden it's so clear. So maybe now I I I I do fear bonding or so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's actually, I think it's the images that strengthened the feeling, because it was so subtle. I didn't know why it struck me in that moment, but with the images it became really clear.
Yeah. So, any other reactions when you think you're missing something by not having a partner?
Uh, well, I didn't think of that before, so it comes up now. It was not in the situation. But lately, sometimes I feel like I'm missing the coziness, the togetherness. It's not a very strong feeling, but I noticed it before. So I think one has to do with the other.
Okay.
It could be it could be one of the reactions to that missing, that feeling of missing.
So, who would you be without the thought when your friend talks about his fear of being abandoned, and maybe it's a fear of being bonded to someone, and you see yourself having lived alone for 12 years? Who would you be without the thought that you're missing something as you hear this conversation?
I think just the curiousness would stay. Like, it's like a puzzle that comes together. So maybe, and I'm always interested in experimenting or finding out about things. So so that feels interesting, fascinating in a way. How people's minds work, and my mind in this case.
Hmm. So, what's the difference without the thought that I'm missing something? What is the difference between with the thought and without the thought in that situation?
The difference is that there is no worry around around the
Mhm.
whole thing. It's only the curiousness that's left.
Yeah, cool.
And it's like it doesn't really matter that much in the sense that if it's really a thing for me, then it will come my way anyway. It will become. I will. I will get into situations that make it more clear. I think if it's really something.
Right. I'm hearing almost a kind of trust
Oh
there
yeah, yeah.
without that thought. Yeah.
Hmm.
So with the thought, there's a worry, and
Yes,
without the thought, there's more of a trust or a curiosity.
yes,
Yeah.
and it really feels like inner peace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the effect of this thought on you in that situation. When you think you're missing something, just that little thought can take you from curious and trusting to worried. It's a small little
yeah.
thing, but you felt it, and that's why
Yeah.
we're doing this work. Yeah.
And interestingly, it's um, when I how you say that, when I grab the fear, the worry, the when I stick to the worry, immediately other thoughts come up that that feed the worry. And when I don't, when I stick to trust, then it's it just doesn't happen that way.
Hmm. Yeah. Stressful thoughts create new stressful thoughts.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle. Yeah. So,
Yeah, and it even starts to become bigger.
hmm. Something
So
wrong with me, right?
yes, yes. I can really see it go in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is really valuable to see because it shows you the effect of this thought. You know, sometimes they say one drop of poison in the mix will make the whole thing poison. So now
Mm,
you have one stressful thought, I'm missing something, and all of these stressful reactions begin to happen and then become even stronger. And
yeah,
if you
so
didn't have that thought that you're missing something, you're just kind of open minded and curious, and maybe you'll discover something about yourself, and maybe you'll be
yeah.
shown. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the interesting thing I learned from this is it looked like something that was too small to inquire. But now that I see this, and I can really see it going into a direction that it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, it's almost like preventing
Yeah.
a stressful story.
You're catching it early. You're catching it.
Yes.
You're sensitive enough to catch the stressful moment, to identify a thought, which we did here, and then start questioning it. And you're unraveling that while it's still tiny and not causing very much problem. But if
Mhm.
that had sat there unquestioned and then life had gone on, things might have gotten more stressful in some way, and it might have gotten bigger. And the next time you see it, it's like coming up as an explosion. It's coming up as something large. So it is
Yeah,
preventive medicine. Yeah.
that's interesting. It's the first time that I see fear or worry, which is a kind of fear, in this way, that it's something that even without being conscious starts to grow anyway,
Yeah.
like as if it's just like, I don't know, a cancer or so, that
Like a little
just grows
seed,
from
just,
itself. Yeah.
yeah,
And it just starts growing in itself even when you don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
That's the power of believing a thought. And even though it was not a super stressful situation, you were believing that thought, and you now see the effect of believing that thought, which was to cause worry. And if it went unchecked, it would cause more worry and more stress, and then larger and larger stress from there. So,
Yeah.
being aware of it. So, let's try turning the thought around. I'm missing something by not having a partner.
I'm not missing something by not having a partner.
Okay. How could that be
um
as true or truer?
yeah. I mean, I already told that my life was just nice. I like my life as a single, and that's still the case. I'm free. I can be wherever I want, do whatever I want. um, I have a very uh, large network, actually too large. I need to diminish it. uh, and I really have good friendships and everything. So I don't see anything that I really miss. So yeah.
So that's the definition of a story, right? In that moment, your mind almost created a little story, or what, however it happened, whether it created it or it believed it. Somehow it just started attaching onto that story of maybe I'm missing something, and it disregards what was actually working for
Mm.
12 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also wonder whether it has to do with culture. Like, when you're a single, you actually miss someone. You don't know, but you actually miss someone.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's very cultural. There's
Yeah,
the norm is to have a
yeah,
partner, and if you don't have a partner, there's something wrong with you.
yeah, yeah,
It's not quite that strong, but it can go in that direction for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So,
um, thinking of another turnaround, which would be I'm missing something by thinking that I'm missing something.
oh yeah. I'm missing something by thinking that I'm missing something. Yeah, that's. I guess that's true. That's interesting. I'm missing something by thinking I'm missing something. It's actually it looks obvious to me.
Yeah,
I cannot really give examples. It's just an obvious thing.
exactly. Exactly. So you were missing something. You weren't wrong. It just wasn't,
Yeah.
didn't have to do with a partner. It had to do with getting caught in a story that you should have a partner,
Yeah.
that there's something off or wrong there. Um, so, So going back to that first turnaround, is there any other example why you're not missing something, according to you, by not having a partner?
Well, sometimes I think, and a psychologist might call that fear of bonding. But sometimes I think, well, if I don't have a partner, I mean, I'm in my 60s, so a partner will probably also be in his 60s or 70s. So there will be a day that if I don't go first, he will go first. And then it will be hard. It will be hard. So, and since I feel happy already, it looks like I don't want that.
Yeah. So call it what you may, but
Yeah.
what I'm hearing is you're content with your life as it is. And it doesn't mean you can't explore the idea
Hmm.
of, like being open or exploring the idea, even that you're afraid of bonding, the way you mentioned. All this can be explored and can be interesting, but without the story that you're missing something. It's just
Hmm.
a exploration, something curious.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So I don't see any other turnarounds offhand. Do you see any that I might be missing? Oh, I do see another turnaround to
Yeah.
yourself.
I was thinking. I'm missing. What was it again? I'm missing.
I'm missing something by not having a partner.
Yeah, I'm missing something by not having a partner. I'm missing something by having a partner.
Okay. How could that be true?
Well, I would miss a certain kind of freedom,
You would be missing that certain kind of freedom. True. By definition.
which is big for me.
Uh-huh.
I really like my freedom. Yeah, well, I could really find a lot more examples. I would like to go back to the one that you said to myself.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, I'm missing
I
myself
see something when I
by not having
by
myself.
not having. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's for sure. I mean, that's that's a lot truer actually.
So how did that
Um,
show up in this situation?
well, it almost feels like I wasn't trusting myself or so in that situation. Like,
Yeah.
oh, somebody tells something about fear of abandonment and fear of bonding. I recognize something and immediately I think maybe this is not good or something.
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
missing something.
That's it. So you're not trusting yourself. You're not being a partner to yourself.
Yeah.
So you're missing something. You're not there for you. Like
Hmm.
12 years of direct experience, just push it
Yeah.
aside. And
Yeah.
yeah, doesn't
And
mean
that
both
doesn't,
can't be true,
yeah,
but
exactly. It doesn't mean that maybe there is a truth in that fear of bonding and everything, but it doesn't have um, to worry me. It since I have been happy all the time.
exactly,
So,
exactly. Like maybe this happiness all the time you can just enjoy, and yet some new revelations are coming that will take your experience to a whole nother level, whether you're
mhm,
single or not. And
yeah,
so it sounds like just an open mind or an open heart to whatever is being uncovered. But that's a very different way of doing it than the fear or the worry or the doubt, self doubt.
yeah.
Yeah.
It feels a lot more spacious and free and playful.
Yeah.
It just feels good. It feels part of my happiness.